Prototype 1006 ain't from around here. Who is he really? And what's his connection to the deaths of each character? Playtime Co. ain't just your regular toy company. I'll spill the beans on all this in this video. Though it might sound bonkers right now, don't bail just yet, because it'll all make sense, so pay attention and let's dive in. Right off the bat, you're probably scratching your head, wanting to know why I think 1006 ain't from our world. But to properly unpack this theory, we gotta grasp the context in which this playtime is set, both its time and events. So, keep your eyes peeled on all the info I'm dropping, because it's crucial to stick around to the end to get the theory. First off, we gotta understand that within the Poppy Playtime universe, there are compelling signs of a connection between Russia, the United States, and Germany. Playtime Co. ain't just your run-of-the-mill toy company, and I'll cut to the chase. The VHS tapes from Playtime Co. were tested, verified, and approved by Russia, Germany, and the USA. Why am I saying this? Well, on the VHS tapes, there's a warning in English telling us not to continue watching. These VHS tapes are Poppy sessions, teaching us how to care for the doll. It's the first video uploaded to the official Mob Entertainment channel, showing how they removed Poppy's voice box to replace it with a new one. There are also kissy-missy VHS tapes when they hand it over to Playcare, and both VHS tapes show the same warning in English, Russian, and German. So whoever stumbled upon these VHS tapes could be a German, Russian, or American Playtime Co. employee who had to avoid watching the recording due to confidentiality issues, claiming that there were workers of these nationalities at Playtime Co., including scientists. And this is important to note for the future, 'cause later, we'll introduce scientists into the most important moments in the plot and the reason for their nationality. In Playtime Co., there are supply boxes with Russian writing on them, as if Playtime Co. somehow got confidential supplies from Russia. But why would Playtime Co. get anything from this country? As I said earlier, Playtime ain't just a toy manufacturing company, but a legit scientific company with a toy store facade. But what does that mean? All this leads to why a company like Playtime Co. would be based in the United States and receiving supplies from Russia during such a hostile time, from the 1940s to the 1990s, due to the territorial confrontation between Russia and the United States that had been going on for many years, as you all know, during the Cold War. And here is where we should see Playtime Co. more as a scientific company and headquarters for scientists than a toy company, which they wanted us to believe. But obviously it was a secret, confidential matter that undoubtedly even the United States government didn't know about. Historically, Russia and the USA had a common great scientific interest since the end of World War II, when they vied for all the scientific achievements and all the Nazi Germany's aerostats. At this stage in history, something very important happens, which gives rise to the existence of important characters in the Poppy Playtime game world. And it's precisely in the midst of this dispute that the recruitment program for German scientists was opened. Like Operation Paperclip, thanks to this, a total of 700 or more German scientists were secretly smuggled to the USA along with their families. None of these scientists had the right to enter the United States since they all served the cause of Nazism in World War II. Many documents had to be rewritten to cleanse the names of those involved in this operation. Most of the information regarding Operation Paperclip is still classified. Taking this into account, and considering that the Poppy Playtime universe is based on our reality and theoretical history, I hypothesize that most of these scientists ended up at Playtime Co. under the guise of a scientific company with a toy store facade, ironically led and founded by Elliot Ludwig, the prime suspect at the beginning of the Playtime Co. experiments. So why did someone like Elliot have to leave? As for scientists of this kind working in his company, it's worth noting that Elliot Ludwig himself was a scientist. We confirm this through Experiment Note 814, found on his desk in Chapter 2, where he describes experimenting with rats and undoubtedly leading experiments with children and theorizing. I am pretty confident that Elliot Ludwig was a German scientist. Elliot had already settled in the United States by 1930, the year he founded Playtime Co. Evidence of this is seen in how Elliot Ludwig experimented with children in the game. They sprayed red gas in children's rooms to experiment with them, making them sleep. Maybe the kids didn't remember the pain, but yeah, the nightmares, this gas wasn't ideal. Some may recall, others might have died in the process. And we should bear in mind that this gas was used even before the existence of catnap, as that's why there was a gas manufacturing laboratory, which surely was busy for many years, so catnap was later used as a gas dispenser in the playroom. However, this method undoubtedly came or was inspired by the gas chambers of Nazi Germany in its concentration camps. The name Elliot Ludwig isn't coincidental either, as Elliot was the namesake of the great German composer and genius Ludwig van Beethoven. In fact, this reference can be found in a canonical newspaper which briefly mentions Elliot Ludwig's biography, noting his Tokay and what a genius he was. In life, he brought happiness through his company to thousands of children. Elliot's intention, which we can now confidently say was a complete lie, and this moment, which I want to touch on. This is related to something very important, and that we must not forget, that Elliot Ludwig. It could be said that his existence within Playtime Co. was the most false, because, as I mentioned earlier, his good intentions towards the children were never real, and I think the new official Poppy Playtime song called Sleep Whelp, which everyone has already heard, tells us a lot about this character. And if you pay attention that when the chorus starts, he says the following artificial facade, this part is pronounced precisely in the frame when Catton takes out his red smoke. Regarding what we were talking about earlier, before the torture organized by Elliot with children with red gas, the phrase artificial facade clearly refers to the player. Well, the player is an artificial biome or place created to make children feel or believe that they lived in the outside world, when in fact they were not even close. But a facade, that is, a falsehood, a place of lies. The next phrase of the song talks about deception from God, and this is the part that hurts me the most because these are the words of children, referring to Elliot Ludwig because they are trying to say that the artificial facade, that is, the player, belongs to a fraud from God. That is Elliot Ludwig. The way that children adored, trusted, and were inspired by, and even gave their drawings to when they saw him. Drawings that can still be found in his office because in a way, even if the children were orphans, they would feel that Elliot would be like their father. Because Elliot Ludwig himself sold dreams to the children of this shelter in Playtime Co. And it was Elliot who once said in the first teaser trailer, shown to the 3rd chapter, that children would never be afraid of monsters in the closet, and that it was nice for his soul is the cause of children's laughter. And at the end of his malicious speech, disguised as innocence, the cries of children and babies tortured by gas are heard. Let's listen.
There is nothing more gratifying to my soul than being the reason for a child's smile, to be the spark that ignites all their hopes and dreams. We owe everything to these children. This company and its toys are nothing without them. That is why it is with enormous pleasure that as the founder of Playtime Co. I announce Playcare, our very own on-site orphanage. A child should never be left unloved, never without a hand to hold when they see a monster in their closet. May Playcare bring joy, inspiration, and smiles to every child who enters these doors.
The song continues to say it all because the path we have traveled, we just wanted to be cured, but now our nightmares are real. This phrase points to Ludwig's broken relationships with children when he sold them false dreams because they just wanted to be cured of just being loved by a real family. But the truth is that the children never had a family, because even if they had foster parents, such as the Hardman family, who came to look for their future foster son Jeremy, at the last moment they were denied due to experimental problems. This recording on VHS also exists in the game.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Hartman, come on in. Please, have a seat. How was your ride down?
It was, nothing like we were expecting. Mr. Ludwig's speech was, well, it just confirms for us that you're the orphanage we want to go through.
It's a truly magical place. I felt right at home from the second I entered. You open that door the first time and you just know you're never going to leave. Kind of like finding a home as a child and always thinking of it when you want to feel comforted. I understand you want to give Jeremy that home? Yes, and we would like to adopt. Amazing. You'll be perfect for... What? Well, it appears there's been some complications. Complications? What kind of complication? I don't know. The form says testing. What does that mean? Tell us. What does that mean?
Miss Graper, we deserve a better explanation than that. Don't you think?
You're in charge of all this. How could you not know?
And why are we only finding out about this now?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Now I can't. I'm sorry they didn't understand this, and so the truth never opened up to them, because the fate of the children was not to be happy in the family, but to be experimented on. And that's why the song emphasizes that now his nightmares are real, because those monsters from the closet that Elliot swore to protect the children from actually existed and became real because they were Elliot Ludwig himself, with his group of scientists secretly infiltrating the United States, ready to experiment with human life without any doubts. This was the first part of my comprehensive investigation that most likely has already made your hair stand on end from shock and new information. In the next part, which will be released tomorrow, I will finish this creepy story and make it clear that the Poppy Playtime Company is fully sponsored by the government and the Masons.